The ceremony will begin in 1 minute. Welcome to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Join us as we welcome back the class of 1973 as they celebrate their 50th anniversary. Please direct your attention to the video boards.
'23.
23.
23.
It's the Jordan year, our Jordan year.
And just like Jordan, we take every shot we can.
Even when life is postponed.
We had to pack up and leave before we even got started.
But we knew we'd be back.
When we returned, some things felt familiar, and others were welcome changes.
We took steps to acknowledge our past.
Made the university a better place.
And connected on deeper levels, creating friendships that will last a lifetime.
Today, we celebrate the end of a long road and the start of a new journey.
One where we will take on the world.
Making it a better place.
A brighter place.
A place for all to feel welcome and accepted.
And as we move forward, we carry a permanent heel print on our hearts.
Showing where we came from.
The challenges we faced. The shots we've taken.
And the path we will forge into the future.
Wherever that path may lead us, we are and always will be Tar Heels.
Jordan year, huh? I like that. Congratulations to the Carolina class of 2023. Much success.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chancellor Kevin Guskowitz and distinguished members of the Platform Party and faculty, led by Faculty Marshal Jay Icutt.
Welcome to the class of 2023 commencement exercises of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Please stand as cadets and midshipmen of the Army and Navy Reserve Officers Training Corps units at UNC Chapel Hill present the colors, and then let's join together in song as Julia Holloman, a vocal performance major from Raleigh, North Carolina, leads us in the national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
You may be seated. First, happy Mother's Day to all the moms with us today. We are well aware that it isn't just today's graduates who have put in the time and effort to reach this day. As the parent of college-age kids myself, I know that earning a degree from a place like Carolina is often a family project. So my congratulations to the moms, dads, siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and godparents who have all done their part to fill this stadium with Carolina blue caps and gowns today. A part of this day is absolutely because of your commitment, and we are grateful to you all that are here today to celebrate this joyful moment. Now, to the class of 2023, congratulations, you made it. Today, you will become the proud holders of a degree from the nation's first and best public university, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. thousands of Tar Heels have sat right where you're sitting, feeling the same mix of celebration and anticipation that you are. They studied late, finished their exams, turned in their final papers, and came into a graduation day like this one with memories of rushing Franklin Street, climbing the bell tower, and having life-changing conversations with friends and mind-blowing classes with our world-class faculty. You share all of those experiences and a great deal more with thousands of Carolina alumni you've never met and those who are here in the stadium today. Please join me in welcoming home the class of 1973 for their 50th reunion. I hope you'll cross paths with them and many others as you venture into the wider world, because that community of Tar Heels is one of the most valuable gifts that you'll take away from this place. A few months ago, I spent some time with one of our most recent alumni, a young man named Evan Paget. Evan came to Carolina from Lowell, North Carolina, a little town west of Charlotte. He majored in biology with minors in chemistry and neuroscience, a daunting set of classes. But Evan was determined. He was described by his closest friends as the most relentless and devoted person they had ever met, a loving son, a best friend, and a committed student. In October of 2020, Evan was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of lymphoma. He fought through chemotherapy, a stem cell transplant, and the hardships of the COVID pandemic, and stayed on track academically, despite all of those obstacles. It was so important to Evan that he earn a Carolina degree, knowing that time could be scarce. He wanted to be a graduate of this place, to reach the accomplishment he shares with all of you as members of the class of 2023. Evan passed away on January 13th of this year, just a day after he earned and received his diploma early. I am grateful beyond words that I got to meet Evan and present to him the degree at his home, surrounded by his family and friends, and to witness the joy he felt at marking the same milestone that you mark today. Evan's story is an extraordinary one, and there are others who should be here with you as well. And I know that so many of you sitting before us have also made sacrifices and overcome hardships to be here today. The reason Evan wanted that diploma so badly is that it made him forever part of this community, tied in a real and meaningful way to all of you. I know what this degree and this accomplishment meant to him. And I challenge each of you to think deeply about what your Carolina degree will mean to you. First, it should remind you of everything you have learned and everything left undiscovered. You worked alongside world-class researchers, listened to visiting scholars, experienced new parts of the world through study abroad and internships, and figured out how to navigate love and friendship, and at times, deep disagreement with your classmates. You've been challenged, awed, frustrated, and occasionally had your world shaken by the things that you've encountered. And still, you've just begun to scratch the surface of all there is to know and discover. You are sitting next to students with different majors and areas of expertise than you. You're surrounded by family and faculty who have different life experiences than you. And you're venturing into a world where the pace of discovery and change is truly astounding. So keep learning, keep growing, and always remain curious. Second, your degree means that people believe in you and in the possibility for you to do worthy and important things in the world. Your degree represents the family and friends who have cheered you on and maybe even texted you on occasion to remind you to pay your rent. It represents the classmates and teachers who challenged you over the last few years and celebrated alongside you, and the generations of North Carolinians who have worked and sacrificed to build this university and keep its doors open to you. When asked about his Carolina degree and what it means to him, Pablo Friedman, a Robertson Scholar of the class of 2009, quoted UNC President Bill Friday, who said, "1 million poor North Carolinians pay taxes to subsidize your education. What are you going to do to pay them back? Always remember the people who have invested in your future. How will you do right by them? How will you show your gratitude and meet your obligation to pay it forward?" And finally, as Janora McDuffie, class of '99, described, "My Carolina degree represented what I could do in this world. And almost 25 years later, my Carolina degree now represents who I am in this world. It's an identity that fuels me and brings so much pride, strength, and deep connection," she said. Let this degree fuel you to do great things. Never forget who you are as Tar Heels, ambassadors of the nation's first public and most public university, and the leaders who will make a difference in this world. I can't wait to see you in the years to come, to hear all of the unexpected and fascinating ways your stories unfold. Class of 2023, thank you. Thank you for your perseverance, your achievements, and your embodiment of all that Carolina is meant to be. Congratulations. It is now my pleasure to introduce my distinguished colleagues on the platform. I'll call their names and ask them to stand and remain standing, and please hold your applause until I've recognized everyone. Chris Clemens, Provost. Amy Locklear Hertel, Executive Vice Provost and Chair of the Commencement Committee. Amy Johnson, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. Lauren DeGrazia, University Registrar. Jill Moore, Secretary of the Faculty. Katie Musgrove, Chair of the Employee Forum. Lauren Hawkinson, President of the Graduate and Professional Student Government. Lynn Blanchard, Director of the Carolina Center for Public Service. Jay Icat, Faculty Marshal. And now Deans of the schools and college. Dean Jim White, College of Arts and Sciences. Dean Martin Brinkley, School of Law. Dean Wesley Burks, School of Medicine. Dean Fawad Abdal-Khalik, School of Education. Dean Angela Kashuba, the Eshelman School of Pharmacy. Dean Beth Mayer Davis, the Graduate School. Interim Dean Jennifer Conrad, Keenan Flagler Business School. Dean Raul Rice, the Hussman School of Media and Journalism. Dean Gary Marcianini, School of Information and Library Science. Dean Nancy Messonnet, the Gilling School of Global Public Health. Dean Janet Guthmiller, the Adams School of Dentistry. Dean Valerie Howard, School of Nursing. Dean Amy Wall, the School of Government. And Dean Stanley Ahalt, the School of Data Science and Society. And now members of Carolina's Board of Trustees who join us today. Teresa Artis Neal, Rob Bryan, Jean Davis, Perrin Jones, Allie Ray McCullen, Vinay Patel, and Talijah Van. Also on stage are your senior class officers, Karthik Tyagi and Keisha Solanki. Please welcome all of them to today's ceremony. Thank you. There are many constituencies that make up this great university, and with us today are representatives to bring greetings. Representing the Board of Governors are Governor Ray Palma and Governor Mike Williford. And representing the Board of Trustees is Chair David Bolick. Representing the General Alumni Association Board of Directors is Chair David Kiesler. And representing the faculty is Chair Mimi Chapman. We will begin with Governor Palma.
Good morning, Carolina. On behalf of the University of North Carolina System Board of Governors and President Peter Hans, I'd like to extend my warmest greetings to Chancellor Guskiewicz, faculty, staff, trustees, parents, especially our mothers, and other constituencies of the university. But most importantly today, to my fellow graduates, the class of 2023. What an exciting day. You know, a lot of graduation remarks are focused on the future, about moving past failures and following your passion. And these are important, our futures are bright. But today I'd actually like to look backwards with you to reflect on the work, the decisions, the friends, and the adventures that brought us to this moment. Not that long ago, we arrived on campus as wide-eyed first years, or excited transfers. We walked our class schedule the day before FDoc, stood in the long line outside Lenore at lunchtime, or hit late night at the Ag, and out of a sense of academic duty and interest, maybe went to a few college parties as well. Then it all came to a stop with the global pandemic. We left campus for spring break, thinking we'd be back soon. But instead, we had to spend some of the most social years of our lives keeping socially distanced for the good of those around us. It was a genuine sacrifice, and it was hard on many of us. But I believe that the stories we choose to remember play a huge role in shaping the kind of life we build. So I'm choosing, as much as possible, to remember the joy and gratitude when we came back together. We rushed Franklin Street after giving Coach K that Final Four loss. We got to spend fall Saturdays right here in Kenan. We were back in person, in class with our friends, enjoying life in the southern part of heaven. But why is it important to reflect on these memories as we prepare for the next chapter in our lives? It's because we don't just share a common degree or love of Carolina blue or hatred of that wannabe Ivy League school just 8 miles down the road. Much more than that. We share in a common experience. No matter where you're from, you found your way home to Chapel Hill. Though each and every one of our journeys has looked different, we have all walked over the same red and purple brick paths to get to class, admired the pink dogwood flowers that signal the start of spring, and drank from the old well on FDoc, only to learn that getting that 4.0 would have required even greater divine intervention. What brings us together, what ties us, bonds us to this place are these 4 or 5 years. Whether you graduated in 1973 or 2023, we Tar Heels share in what others could never understand, the Carolina experience. My fellow graduates, today is both sweet and a little sad. Though we will never again be college students, we will forever be the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill class of 2023, and the Carolina experience that we share with each other and all those who came before us and all those who will come after us is an eternal reminder that it is and always will be a great day to be a Tar Heel. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you so much. It's now my honor to introduce Governor Mike Williford, who will present the Board of Governors Award for Excellence in Teaching.
Good morning. It's my privilege. As we celebrate this commencement, it's important to recognize the contributions of a world-renowned faculty here at Carolina. It's my privilege today to present this year's Board of Governors Award for Excellence in Teaching. This award was established by the Board of Governors in 1994 and is presented annually to the faculty member from each UNC system campus. This year's recipient from UNC Chapel Hill is Dr. Patrick Conway. I would like to ask Chancellor Gusovitz and Professor Conway to come forward. Dr. Patrick Conway has been a part of Carolina for a long time. He has been serving on the faculty since 1983 and is currently Professor of Economics and the Academic Director of the Shuford Program for Entrepreneurship. The Shuford Program empowers students to turn ideas into inspiration and into action. And as Executive Director Bernard Bell says, the program changes lives' trajectories, plain and simple. Dr. Conway is also no stranger to awards. He's been the recipient of many, including the Pew Faculty Fellowship in International Affairs from Harvard University, the William Friday Award for Excellence in Teaching, the Bowman and Gordon Gray Professorship in Economics, and the Kenneth L. Zinga Distinguished Teaching Award awarded by the Southern Economic Association. Professor Conway, for your passion and commitment to students, we celebrate your outstanding professional achievements and salute your demonstrated commitment to the art of teaching and inspiring students to reach for the stars.
Well, good morning. Last year it was 50 degrees and the wind was blowing 20 miles an hour, and today is much nicer and the sun's not beating down on you, so I'm very happy for that. Thank you, Governors Williford and Palma, Chancellor Guskowitz, Chair of the Faculty, Professor Chapman, General Alumni Association Chair Judge Kiesler, Provost Clemens, Mr. Stevenson, President Taigi, honorary degree recipients, deans of the schools, members of the faculty, graduates, alums, family, and friends. I also want to thank Trustee Gene Davis, Teresa Artis Neal, Dr. Perrin Jones, Rob Bryan, Allie Ray McCullen, my new friend, former student body president Talaja Van and Trustee Vinay Patel, who also stands here as a proud father of Millen. So congratulations, Millen, and congratulations, Trustee Patel. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and grandmothers. Graduates, feel free to look in the stands and thank them with a wave. It's the honor of a lifetime to be chair of the Board of Trustees at UNC Chapel Hill, and I thank you for allowing me to bring greetings on behalf of the board. I stand here representing the board, but today, as is Trustee Patel, I am the proud father of a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill. Hey, Langdon. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to the entire class of 2023. We are proud of your accomplishments. Classes are wrapped up, exams are in the books, and today marks the close. Time has become yours to manage. To be clear, however, today is both the end and the beginning. You are now part of a bigger Carolina story. This Carolina story is really about the great experiment in public higher education that began here in Chapel Hill some 230 years ago. Never forget you are a graduate of the first public university in our great nation. We are a world-class research institution, an economic engine of North Carolina, and a place that inspires leaders. When you first came here, you were selected from 48,000 other people who want to sit where you sit today. Let that sink in for just a second. And now, because you are a graduate of Carolina, you will forever be different. You are not only regarded as a trusted and highly educated citizen, but you are regarded as a leader, and people will listen to what you have to say. One thing that makes this place special is that it is always changing. And at graduation time, speakers tend to remind graduates that change is a constant and that your education has prepared you for inevitable change. But you already know that. COVID made sure of that. Think about some of the simple things that have changed just since you started here at Carolina. To Zoom doesn't mean to just make things bigger on the computer screen. Or something you do with a camera lens, right? To pivot isn't just a basketball move. Although Armando's pretty good at pivot. And the biology majors aren't the only ones who know at least a little something about mRNA. But because you have studied here and because you have learned how to learn, what you take from this place is ultimately really up to you. And it will change over time as well. Nostalgia and your memory, for that matter, are funny things, and that's okay. But Carolina will be here. This place will always give you what you give it. So get involved at your university when the time is right. You'll be drawn back, and you'll know when that time is right. I promise. I am confident, for example, there are future trustees in this graduating class. And like me, you may have a child who graduates here as well one day. But as you leave this graduation ceremony, you'll chart a path. Some of you will stay here in Chapel Hill, but most of you will leave. But if you're leaving, please come back. Come to a ball game, a performance, or just walk across campus. Because when you do, you will remember why you came here in the first place. And your love of this place will grow. After today, many of you will start a job. Some of you will stay in school. Others may spend time just figuring out. Maybe you'll bartend in Key West. All solid choices. Really, all solid choices. Whatever you do from here forward, though, I can assure you that you will be surprised at the respect you get from having spent time here. I'll wrap up by saying that if you read tips on speaking, and maybe some of you who studied the topic here know that people tend to remember things in threes. So I have three thoughts. First, be kind. Second, be kind. And third, be kind. First, let me confess that in my experience, being kind every day is really hard. And you won't always get it right, but you'll feel unkind on some days. So I'll just say, like I do, just keep on doing your best. Be kind to yourself. We are all very aware of mental health, and it's okay to get help. If you need help, please get it. You are a loved member of the Carolina community. Be kind to your parents. Be kind to your parents, your siblings, anyone you hold as family and close friends. Trust me, you're going to need them soon. Finally, be kind to those people in your life, your co-workers, and anyone you meet who didn't go to Carolina. After all, they missed out on Saturdays here in Kenan Stadium, intramural games, sitting on the wall in the pit, studying in Davis and in the undergrad, Thursday nights on Franklin Street, and they didn't get to rush Franklin Street not once but twice last spring. And mostly having the greatest college experience, as Governor Palma said, in the world. So be kind to them and proudly show off your spirit. The logo on your hat, your light blue socks and your light blue Carolina shoes. Every time you get the chance, remind folks that you're a Tar Heel. And so let me hear you one more time as a student. Tar. Tar. And finally, there is one addendum I have to make to my 3 pieces of advice. I think it is a pretty good piece of advice for everybody here in light blue. There is a time I'd remind that unkindness can be okay. And maybe it's when you're here in Kenan Stadium or in the Smith Center, giving travel instructions to the folks in dark blue 8 miles down the road, telling them where to go after the fight song. It's a great day to be a Tar Heel. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Good morning, Tar Heels, family and friends. I'm David Kiesler, UNC class of 1984. I've had the honor of serving this year as chair of the board of directors of the UNC General Alumni Association. The UNC General Alumni Association is proud to be one of the oldest organizations at our nation's oldest public university. Convened initially by UNC alumnus and Governor John Motley Moorhead in 1843, the GAA has remained faithful to its original goals, perpetuating collegiate friendships, promoting the welfare of the university, and promoting the cause of education. And so, on behalf of the GAA and Carolina's more than 355,000 living alumni, it is my honor to join in congratulating today's graduates, including especially our daughter, Caroline Kiesler. Well done, everybody. After years of hard work, many late hours studying, a lot of coffee, and perhaps a few blue cups here and there, you've earned your degree at Carolina. COVID notwithstanding, I know you've also created some great memories along the way. Good for you. Now, you've been a Carolina student for a few short years. You'll be a Carolina alumnus for the rest of your life. Your GAA is the official organization for all former Carolina students. We will keep you informed about your great university, provide opportunities for you to return to Chapel Hill with fellow Tar Heels, and keep you connected with your classmates and with other fellow Tar Heels wherever your life may take you. We've been at this mission at the GAA for 180 years now, and we will be there for each of you. Let us know how we can serve you in the years ahead. It is indeed a great day to be a Tar Heel. I'm so proud of our daughter, but we at the GAA are so proud of all of you. And so on behalf of the GAA, congratulations and best wishes. Go Heels.
Chancellor Gleskowitz, Provost Clemens, Governors Williford and Palma, Chair Bullock, Mr. Stevenson, and other distinguished members of the Platform Party, parents, friends, and graduates. Aristotle wrote, that educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. I like to think that no matter the circumstances, all Carolina graduates' capaciousness of heart expands during their time here. But for you, many of whom entered in the fall of 2019, were sent home in March of 2020, returned, left, and returned again, the circumstances of the pandemic alone meant that your education has been fundamentally different from those who came before you, giving you the opportunity, albeit through terribly difficult days, to expand both heart and mind together. Faculty experienced the same thing. We all became armchair epidemiologists, watched science develop before our eyes, and saw the differential impact that the pandemic had on classmates and colleagues from various communities. We experienced the frustrations and joys and sorrows that were specific to those pandemic days, and through them, hopefully, to see our hearts and minds expand. As students, you learned about hard choices and perseverance, submission of your own wants to the needs of the whole, and all the while you learned about fields and scholarships that captured your imagination and your hopes for the future. English, business, biology, journalism, psychology, art history, and all the rest of the rich expertise found on this campus. You made it through, you thrived, and today is your day. A great pleasure of being a faculty member here is both prompting and walking alongside you in your growth, whether it's in a classroom on Zoom, in the lab, during office hours, outside of Wilson Library on a beautiful day, at a performance at Memorial Hall or backstage at Playmakers. We know those moments are just the beginning for you, and we cherish your hope and enthusiasm. Whether life takes you across the globe and back or down the road, I hope that this place, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, will be what some called a sure place for you, a place you can count on and come back to remember who you were when you started out, a touchstone by which to measure your choices as your life unfolds. Your faculty are proud of you and will be cheering you on. Congratulations to the class of 2023.
Thank you, Dr. Chapman. Bryan Stevenson is a widely acclaimed public interest lawyer who has dedicated his career to helping the poor, the incarcerated, and the condemned. He is the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative, a human rights organization in Montgomery, Alabama. Under his leadership, the Equal Justice Initiative has won major legal challenges, eliminating excessive and unfair sentencing, exonerating innocent death row prisoners, confronting abuse of the incarcerated and the mentally ill, and aiding children prosecuted as adults. Mr. Stevenson has argued and won multiple cases at the United States Supreme Court, including a 2019 ruling protecting condemned prisoners who suffer from dementia and a landmark 2012 ruling that banned mandatory life imprisonment without parole sentences for all children 17 years of age or younger. He has initiated major new anti-poverty and anti-discrimination efforts that challenge inequality in America. And he is the author of the critically acclaimed New York Times bestseller, Just Mercy, which was adapted as a major motion picture in 2019. He's a graduate of the Harvard Law School and the Harvard School of Government. Mr. Stevenson led the creation of two highly acclaimed cultural sites which opened in 2018, the Legacy Museum and the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. These new national landmark institutions chronicle the legacy of slavery, lynching, and racial segregation, and the connection to mass incarceration and the contemporary issues of racial bias. In April of 2021, I had the opportunity to visit this museum and memorial with my wife Amy and several of our Carolina alumni who are here today, and it was a life-changing experience for all of us. I met Mr. Stevenson there and was inspired by his commitment to fight for people in our nation who are often ignored and disregarded. At that time, I invited him to join us in Chapel Hill to share his journey and his passion for improving the human condition. So here we are today. Please join me in welcoming your commencement speaker, Bryan Stevenson.
Thank you so much. It's such a thrill for me to be here. I grew up on a little stretch of land called the Delmarva Peninsula. It's part of this country, Virginia, the eastern part of Virginia, the eastern shore of Maryland, and the part of southern Delaware. And in the poor rural community where I grew up, we only had one TV station, and every now and then the wind would blow in such a way that you could get coverage, and what they covered on that TV station was ACC basketball. So I grew up watching the University of North Carolina basketball teams and became a devoted Tar Heel fan. So I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to be here on this stage and to be joining you and to be getting a degree from this amazing university. This is a public university, and I want to talk today about what I think we can all do to contribute to the public trust, to the public health, to the well-being of our larger country. I'm worried about so many of the things that you're going to have to confront as graduates. It's a difficult time in the world. There's war in Sudan, war in Ukraine, war in the Middle East. There's this rage that seems to be going around our planet. There's too much violence in our country. There's too much conflict, polarizing politics. There's all of this extremism that's manifesting itself. And sadly, we're entering a world at a time when there's a lot of fear and anger and division. And so I think it's important that we all commit to contributing something that's healthy, contributing something that increases the justice quotient in our nation. I want you to change the world, graduates. I want you to believe that we can do something better than what we've seen in this country. Our planet is suffering, and we're going to have to deal with burdens that others haven't had to deal with. And I could talk all morning about the problems, but I want to talk about solutions. I believe that we have the capacity to make a difference, and not just a difference, but a justice difference, a health difference, a better difference. And that's what I want to talk about. I think, though, there's some things we're going to have to do to advance these things. And the first thing I think we're going to have to do is be willing to get proximate to people who are poor and suffering. We're going to have to get proximate to the excluded and the disfavored. It's very easy in our country to isolate ourselves from people who suffer. It's easy to create spaces where we don't see the problems of other people, but I'm going to urge you to not do that. Because when we get proximate to the poor and the excluded and the neglected, we hear things we need to hear to create a better society. When we're proximate, we see things that we need to see. Too many of our policymakers make policies from distant places, and they don't hear and see the things they need to see, that they need to hear to make good policies. And I want you to be different than that. I want you to connect with those who are struggling and suffering. I don't want you to kind of shield yourselves with this degree and only do the things that work for you, because I believe we are called to do something better than that. It's Mother's Day, and I'm so thrilled that we are here with so many amazing family members who have made this possible. When I grew up as a young child, I learned about proximity not just from the things I read, but I experienced it. I grew up in a community where black children could not attend the public schools, so I started my education in a colored school. There were no high schools for black kids in my county when my dad was a teenager. Most of the adults in our community didn't have high school degrees because the public schools weren't open. And then these lawyers came into our community and made them open up the public schools. And because of that, I got to go to high school, I got to go to college, I got to go to law school. But when integration came to our community, my grandmother was very worried about it. She hadn't lived through that. And I had one of these quintessential African-American matriarchs. My grandmother was the power in our family. She was tough, she was strong, she was kind, she was loving, but she was the force in our family. My grandmother, perhaps like some grandmothers and mothers in this stadium, was the end of every argument in our family. She was also the start of a lot of arguments in our family. And when I was about 9 or 10, my grandmother started doing this thing she hadn't done before. She would come up to me and she'd give me these hugs, and she'd squeeze me so tightly, I thought she was trying to hurt me. And then she'd see me an hour later and she'd say, "Brian, do you still feel me hugging you?" And if I said no, she would jump on me again. And by the time I was 10, I finally figured it out. And every time I would see my grandmother, the first thing I would always say is, I'd say, "Mama, I always feel you hugging me." And she'd smile this smile, and I didn't appreciate what she was teaching me until much later. My grandmother worked as a domestic her whole life. She lived into her 90s. But when she got into her 90s, she fell one day and she broke her hip. And then she was diagnosed with cancer. And my grandmother was dying. I was in college at the time, and I just couldn't imagine being in the world without her. I just loved her. She was the center of my life in many ways. And I went to go see her, and they told me that she didn't have much longer. And I went into the room, and she was on her bed. Her eyes were closed. She wasn't responding. And I just couldn't imagine being in the world without her. So I decided that she couldn't die if I was talking to her. So I decided to just stay there and talk. And I sat down and I just started talking, and I talked and I talked and I talked. And finally one of my relatives came in and said, "Brian, you can't stay in here and talk forever. You can't do this." And I stood up and reconciled myself with the fact that I'd have to leave. And I was holding my grandmother's hand, and I stood up and I took a step away. And when I took a step away, my grandmother opened her eyes. And then she squeezed my hand. And she looked at me, and the last thing my grandmother said to me, she said, "Brian, do you still feel me hugging you?" And then she said, "I want you to know I'm always going to be hugging you." And I tell you that because I believe there have been times in my life when I could feel the embrace of my grandmother. I actually feel her here this morning. And I'm saying this to you because I want you to understand the power you have to embrace the people around you, the people in your family, the people in your life, and to affirm their humanity and dignity. But more than that, I want you to be the kind of Carolina graduates that go into places where people have fallen down, go into places where people are suffering, go into places where people are struggling, go into places where people have been marginalized and excluded, and be the kind of Carolina graduates that are willing to get next to the poor and the excluded and wrap your arms around them, affirm their humanity and their dignity. And I believe that when we affirm the humanity and the dignity of all of God's children, we start to create this movement toward justice, this movement toward health, this movement to a kind of future that we desperately need. We've got to get proximate, but we've also got to change some of the narratives that are floating around in our world right now. There's a politics of fear and anger spreading across the globe. And I want you to fight against it, because I believe that fear and anger are the essential ingredients of injustice and oppression. When we allow ourselves to be governed by fear and anger, we start to tolerate things we should never tolerate. We start to accept things we should never accept. That we wouldn't have had a Holocaust in the 20th century if we had pushed back against the narrative of fear and anger. I saw what it did in Rwanda when it created a whole genocide. I've seen it happen in this country. 50 years ago, our politicians from both political parties were gripping with and embracing the politics of fear and anger. They said that people who are drug addicted and drug dependent are criminals, and we need to punish them for their addiction and dependence. And we allowed that narrative to create this massive investment into jails and prisons. Our prison population went from 300,000 in the early 1970s to over 2.2 million today. We have 80 million people in this country who have criminal arrest histories, which means that they're disadvantaged when they try to get jobs or loans. This politics of fear and anger caused us to be the nation with the highest rate of incarceration in the world. And we made a mistake when we allowed fear and anger to govern us. We shouldn't have said that people who are suffering from addiction and dependency are criminals with a crime problem. We should have said these are people with a health problem, and we needed a health care intervention to that problem. But fear and anger cause us to look the other way. I've seen this happen. There were a generation of politicians that said our children aren't really children. And they use words like these are super predators to demonize generations of kids. And we started putting kids in jails and prisons. We put 5- and 6-year-olds in handcuffs. And we've got to push against that narrative. I don't believe that there are things that we can call children that take away their child status. I think all children are children. We don't show our commitment to children by looking at how well we treat talented kids and gifted kids and privileged kids. Our commitment to children has to be expressed by how we treat poor kids, abused kids, neglected kids, kids that are struggling and suffering. There are narratives that are floating still in our country that burden us. We are burdened by our history of racial inequality. And I think we have to change the narrative of racial injustice that we've inherited. It's all around us. It doesn't matter where you live. There are these toxins in the air created by this long history, and this history has continued because we've been silent about things that we shouldn't be silent about. And I hope you're Carolina graduates that are willing to change this narrative, talk about the things that we need to talk about. We're here in North Carolina, where a large and vibrant indigenous community lived for centuries. And we haven't really talked about the fact that we're a post-genocide society, because what we did to indigenous people when Europeans came was a genocide. We killed millions of native people through famine and war and disease. We kept their lands, we kept their words, but we made the people leave. And we created a great constitution that talked about equality and justice, but we didn't apply the concepts of that constitution to indigenous people. Instead, we said, oh no, those native people, they're savages. They don't get the benefits of our constitution. And we created this narrative of racial difference, and it was like an infection, and it spread. And it caused us to tolerate 2.5 centuries of slavery. And I don't think the great evil of American slavery was involuntary servitude and forced labor. I think the true evil of American slavery was the narrative we created to justify enslavement, because enslavers didn't want to feel immoral or unjust, so they created this false narrative that black people aren't as good as white people, that black people are less capable and less worthy, and that narrative of racial difference gave rise to racial hierarchy. And yes, we fought a civil war, and the North won the civil war, but the South won the narrative war because those ideas of racial hierarchy, they persisted. And even after the Civil War, we had lynching and violence and segregation, and for a century, we tolerated bigotry and discrimination and exclusion, and this presumption of dangerousness and guilt was born that we assigned to black and brown people. And even after the Civil Rights era, we still are contending with these narratives of racial difference, and it breaks my heart that some of the best graduates in this class are going to go on and do amazing things. There's going to be doctors and lawyers and teachers and engineers, successful business people, but it breaks my heart that some of the graduates in this class that are black or brown are going to have to deal with presumptions of dangerousness and guilt. They're going to have to go places where they have to navigate this burden, and that's why I believe we have to change this narrative. We need an era of truth and justice, and I think you have to be the prime movers in creating more truth and more justice in our world. And yes, I think there has to be truth and reconciliation, truth and restoration, truth and redemption, but these things are sequential. We got to tell the truth before we get to reconciliation. I've seen where it's happened. In South Africa, there was a commitment to truth and reconciliation after apartheid. I've been to Germany. It's amazing when you go to Berlin, Germany, you can't go 200 meters without seeing markers and stones and symbols that honor the lives of the victims of the Holocaust. The Holocaust Memorial sits in the center of Berlin, and everybody's encouraged to reckon with that horrific history of the Holocaust. And it's amazing to me because in Germany, every student is required to study the Holocaust. They have to learn about the Holocaust. It's mandated that there be this reckoning. Nobody in Germany is saying we can't teach our children about the Holocaust because they might feel uncomfortable or ashamed. And what's powerful is that there is no iconography celebrating the perpetrators of that history, and that's why I believe we have to have this reckoning. We've built this museum and memorial in Montgomery, and I'm proud of these spaces. One of the exhibits in our museum are these jars of soil that we ask people to go out to lynching sites and collect. And we were doing a collection a few years ago, and an older black woman said, "Mr. Stevenson, I want to dig some soil." I said, "Great." And she went to her site, which was in West Alabama, and we give everybody an empty jar that has the name of the victim and the date and an implement to dig the soil. And she went there, and when she got there, she said she got afraid because it was a very isolated place. And she said she had to pray before she got out of the car to go dig the soil, but she prayed her prayer, she went there, and she found the site where the lynching was, and she got down on her knees, and just before she started to dig, she said a pickup truck came riding down the road, and there was a big white guy in the truck, and he stared at her, and it made her nervous. And then she said that man slowed his truck down, turned it around, and drove back by and stared at her some more. She said her heart started to pound. And to her horror, the man parked the truck, got out, and started walking toward her, and he walked up to her, and he said, "Excuse me, but what are you doing?" And we tell people when they're digging the soil that they don't have to explain what they're doing. And she said, "I was going to tell him I was getting dirt from my garden, Mr. Stevenson." She said, "But all of a sudden, something got a hold of me." And she said, "I told that man," she said, "I'm digging soil here because this is where a black man was lynched in 1937, and I want to honor his life." And she said she just looked down and started digging. And the man said, "Does that memo talk about the lynching?" And she said, "It does." And then he said, "Can I read it?" And she gave the man the memo, and he started reading while she started digging. And after the man finished reading, he shocked her. And he put the memo down, and he said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but would it be all right if I helped you?" And she said, "Yes." And the man got down on his knees to help her, and she offered him the implement to dig the soil. He said, "No, no, no, you keep that. I'll just use my hands." And then she said he started throwing his hands into the soil and putting it in the jar, throwing his hands into the soil. She said there was something about the way he was putting his whole body into picking up this soil that just moved her. And before she realized it, she said, "I had a tear running down my face, Mr. Stevenson." The man saw her tear, and he turned to her and he said, "I'm sorry, I'm upsetting you." And she said, "No, no, no, you're blessing me." And he kept digging with his hands, and she kept digging with the implement, and they were getting near the top of the jar. And she looked over as they got near the top, and she saw that the man had slowed down, and his face had turned red, his shoulders had dropped. And then she said she saw a tear running down his face. And she stopped and put her hand on his shoulder. She said, "Are you all right?" And the man said, "No, ma'am, no, ma'am." And then he said, "I'm just so worried that it might have been my grandfather who helped lynch this man." And she said they both sat on that roadside and wept. After a few minutes, the man looked at her and he said, "Ma'am, I really want to take a picture of you holding the jar of soil." And she said, "Okay, I'll do that." She said, "But I really want to take a picture of you holding the jar of soil." And they took pictures of one another, and she said, "Well, I'm going back to Montgomery to put this in the museum." And the man said, would it be all right if I just followed you back there?" And she said, "Sure." And I was there when these two people who met on a roadside in a place of shame and terror and violence and bigotry came in together and did something extraordinary by contributing that jar of soil to our exhibit. I'm not naive. I don't believe beautiful things like that always happen when you tell the truth, but I believe we deny ourselves the beauty of justice when we refuse to tell the truth. So graduates, be truth tellers in this world. The third thing I just want to say to you is that you need to stay hopeful. Stay hopeful, graduates. Your hope is your superpower. Believe things you haven't seen. Believe you can do things that haven't been done before. I believe that hopelessness is the enemy of justice. I think injustice prevails where hopelessness persists. Some of you are going to have to stand up when people say sit down. Some of you are going to have to speak when others say be quiet, but don't resist the obligation to stay hopeful. Read your essays that you wrote before you came to Carolina. Make sure you still have the energy, the spirit, the hope, the dreams that you had when you came to this university. Let hope be your guide. It's the hope of so many of your friends and family that brought you here. Hold on to hope. And finally, I want to say to you something a little harder, which is that we cannot change the world. We can't increase the justice quotient. We can't be the stewards of this university that we're called to be if we're not willing to sometimes do things that are uncomfortable and inconvenient. We're human. And humans are biologically and psychologically programmed to do what's comfortable. We like comfort, and there's nothing wrong with comfort, but to make a difference, we're going to have to sometimes be willing to do uncomfortable things. As was mentioned, I've argued these cases before the Supreme Court. We won a case banning life sentences for children. One of the great joys of my career now is I go around the country and I meet all of these young people who were told they were going to die in prison, who've had their sentences reduced, and now they're out, and they'll come up to me, and they'll give me a hug, and some of them will say, "Hey, man, I'm one of your guys. I'm just so honored." And it's the great joy of my career to go around and to meet people who benefited from this. But a couple of years ago, I was doing a hearing in one of the cases that were impacted by the decision. Somebody I'd been working with for a long time, a 14-year-old sentenced to life without parole, and when we got to the hearing, the judge was unwilling to impose a reduced sentence, and the judge reinstated a sentence that condemned this child, and it broke my heart. And afterward, the hearing, a couple of hours later, this young man called me, and I got emotional. I got overwhelmed. I was uncomfortable. I wasn't feeling good about what I'd done. I didn't feel like I had done what was needed. And as this young man was talking to me, I got really emotional, and I started crying. And I said, I'm so sorry, man. It just didn't work out the way it needed to. And this young client of mine, he wasn't 14 at the time, but my young client started comforting me. He said, oh, Brian, don't cry. Don't worry about this. I know I'm going to get out. I know you're going to help me. You're going to get me out one day. I believe it. And of course, that just made me feel worse. I hung up the phone. I said, what kind of lawyer are you that you have your clients comforting you? And I felt bad the whole day. And that night I was going home, and I just stopped in a restaurant to get some food, and I was still feeling the weight of the work that I do. And I went into this restaurant, and there were a group of older black women sitting in the restaurant, and they recognized me, and they waved at me as I walked in, and I waved back, and I got my food, and I was about to walk out when one of the older women shouted across the restaurant. She said, hey, come here. And I looked, and she pointed at me. She said, hey, come here. And so I went over to her, and she was at this group with these other women. She said, bend down. And I didn't understand what she was saying. She said, bend down. And so I bent down. And then she leaned up and she kissed me on the forehead. And then she said, you keep on keeping on. And I just stood there. And then she said, go home, eat your food. Go home, go eat your food. And I got in my car and I shed a tear and I thought about it, and then I smiled and I felt better. And I'm telling you that because I believe that even when you do uncomfortable things, you'll encounter people who will embrace you, who will encourage you, who will lift you up. I believe really simple things. I believe that each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done. I don't think if someone tells a lie, they're just a liar. I don't think if someone commits a crime, they're just a criminal. And that's why I believe we have to do more to create a just society. I don't believe that the opposite of poverty is wealth. I think sometimes we talk too much about money. I believe that the opposite of poverty is justice. And when we do justice, we begin to create a world that thrives and grows. And finally, I believe that we're going to be judged as graduates of this university, not for the things that we do for the rich and the powerful and the privileged. I think we're ultimately going to be judged for what we do for that greater public that has made it possible for us to be here. So to all of you who embrace the challenge of getting proximate to the excluded and the disfavored, all of you who want to change the narratives and push back against fear and anger, all of you who will stay hopeful, all of you who will do the uncomfortable things that our world desperately needs you to do, I just want to say to each and every one of you, keep on keeping on. And we're going to be celebrating everything you do every step of the way. Congratulations to each and every one of you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson, for those inspiring words, words of great wisdom for the class of 2023. Commencement is an opportunity for us to recognize extraordinary individuals who embody the mission of this great institution and inspire us all. Each year, the faculty selects the Board of Trustees award these individuals for distinguished service to the university, the state, the nation, and the world. Upon these individuals, we are privileged to confer honorary degrees in recognition of their exemplary achievements and the impact that they've had on society. I call upon Provost Chris Clemens to lead the ceremony, and Jill Moore, Secretary of the Faculty, will come forward to read each citation.
Chancellor Guskowitz, I have the honor to present Alexander Julian II, who has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Doctor of Arts.
Alexander Julian is a designer whose work has earned international acclaim. He's a Chapel Hill native and a long-standing supporter of the university, whose contributions range from the pro bono design of basketball uniforms, including the now iconic Carolina Argyle, to creating the Mary and Maurice Julian Scholarship for Students with Financial Need and the Alexander Julian Prize for Artistic Excellence. Julian was inducted into the Fashion Hall of Fame in his early 30s, at the time the youngest person to receive that honor. He's been recognized as the American Menswear Designer of the Year 6 times and was the first men's clothing designer in the U.S. to create his own fabrics. His textile design is included in the Smithsonian Design Museum's permanent collection. His other design contributions to Carolina, in addition to those uniforms, have included ties and scarves for Order of the Bell Tower student volunteers, and the Carolina Blue graduation gowns that you're wearing today, which are made of 100% post-consumer recycled material. The university recognized Julian with the Distinguished Alumnus Award in 1989 and with initiation into the Order of the Golden Fleece in 2014. For outstanding accomplishment in design, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer on Alexander Julian II the degree of Doctor of Arts honoris causa.
Chancellor Guskowitz, I have the honor to present Douglas Carmichael McIntyre II, who has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Douglas Carmichael Mike McIntyre has led a distinguished career in law and public service while remaining a community volunteer and a devoted alumnus of UNC Chapel Hill. During his nearly 2 decades in Congress, he advocated for rural populations, agricultural and economic policies, and federal recognition for the Lumbee tribe. And he also authored tobacco buyout legislation to help distressed communities. Internationally, he promoted workforce development in agriculture and was one of 9 U.S. House members to represent the United States on the Helsinki Commission. McIntyre earned his undergraduate and law degrees from Carolina. A Moorhead Scholar himself, he chaired the Robeson County Moorhead Scholarship Committee for a decade. He's been a member of the UNC Cornerstone Club and alumni chair of the McIntyre-Wichard Legal Fellows Program at UNC Law. He and his family established the McIntyre Family Scholarship for law students who demonstrate exemplary citizenship and service to others. His numerous awards include the North Carolina Liberty Bell Award, the Distinguished Public Service Award from the U.S. Secretary of the Navy, and UNC Law's Distinguished Alumnus Award. For outstanding accomplishment in public service, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer on Douglas Carmichael McIntyre II the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Chancellor Guskowitz, I have the honor to present Jonathan Thomas Moore Reckford, who has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Jonathan Reckford is CEO of Habitat for Humanity International, which has helped more than 46 million people construct or rehabilitate their homes. During his tenure, Habitat has grown from serving 125,000 individuals annually to helping more than 7 million people last year. In 2017, he was named the most influential nonprofit leader in the U.S. by the Nonprofit Times. Reckford is a native of Chapel Hill and a Carolina alumnus. At UNC, he was a Moorhead Scholar and the recipient of a Henry Luce Scholarship, which enabled him to work with the Seoul Olympic Organizing Committee and also to coach the Korean rowing team for the 1988 Olympics. After earning his MBA from Stanford, Reckford held executive positions at several major U.S. companies, then left the for-profit sector to serve as executive pastor at Christ Presbyterian Church in Edina, Minnesota, before joining Habitat for Humanity. Reckford is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and the Global Future Council for the World Economic Forum. He was the spring commencement speaker for UNC Chapel Hill in 2019. For outstanding accomplishment in business and nonprofit leadership, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer on Jonathan T. M. Reckford the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Chancellor Guskowitz, I have the honor to present Hilda L. Solis, who has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Hilda Solis is presently a Los Angeles County Supervisor serving her third term. Over the past decade, she has worked tirelessly to assist and uplift the county's most vulnerable residents through combating homelessness, investing in community green spaces, reimagining public safety through the Care First, Jails Last initiative, and expanding healthcare access. Previously, Solis was the first Latina to serve in the U.S. Cabinet after being appointed as Secretary of Labor under President Barack Obama. Before that, she represented the 32nd Congressional District in California for 8 years. In Congress, her priorities included expanding access to affordable health care, protecting the environment, and improving the lives of working families. She also served on the Helsinki Commission. A recognized leader on clean energy jobs, she authored the Green Jobs Act, which provided funding for green-collar job training for veterans, displaced workers, at-risk youth, and individuals from low-income families. She was the first woman to receive the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award for her work on environmental justice issues. For outstanding accomplishment in public service, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer on Hilda Lucia Solis the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Chancellor Guskowitz, I have the honor to present Brian A. Stevenson, who has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
You've had the great privilege of learning a lot about Mr. Stevenson already this morning, but once more for emphasis, he is an attorney and the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative, a human rights organization in Montgomery, Alabama. Under his leadership, the initiative has won major legal challenges, eliminating unfair sentencing, exonerating innocent death row inmates, confronting abuse of the incarcerated and the mentally ill, and aiding children who were prosecuted as adults. It has also created markers and memorials to acknowledge the country's history of slavery, lynching, and racial segregation, including the Legacy Museum and the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. Stevenson's memoir, Just Mercy, is a New York Times bestseller that examines injustices in the U.S. judicial system with a focus on efforts to overturn the wrongful conviction of Walter McMillan. The book won the 2015 Andrew Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Nonfiction and was adapted into a 2019 film. Stevenson's many honors include the prestigious MacArthur Foundation Fellowship and the National Humanities Medal. He was inducted into the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2014. For outstanding achievement in public service and social justice, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer on Brian A. Stevenson the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I have the honor to present Lucille Webb, who has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Lucille Webb is a national leader in community-driven engaged scholarship. After retiring from a 30-year career as a teacher and administrator in the Wake County Public Schools, she became a tireless community advocate and leader. Webb founded Strengthening the Black Family, a nonprofit focused on identifying and securing resources for greater economic, health, employment, and educational opportunities for Black families. She led the Kellogg Foundation's community-based public health initiative, and she was recognized by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention as an expert in community-based participatory research and for building support for programs addressing chronic health challenges affecting communities of color. Webb has collaborated extensively with UNC Chapel Hill through her service on boards, teaching and mentoring students, serving as Community Course Director for the Faculty Engaged Scholars Program, and chairing the executive team for Project Direct, a diabetes research development project. In 2006, the National Community-Based Organization Network of the American Public Health Association created the Lucille Webb Award in her honor. This award honors individuals who have made a significant contribution to community-based public health at the local level. For outstanding accomplishment in education, public health, and community engagement, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer on Lucille Holcomb Webb the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Will all honorary degree recipients please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in the University of North Carolina, by the state of North Carolina, and by the university entrusted to me, I hereby confer the said degrees upon you. Congratulations. I now call upon Provost Clemens to lead the official conferral of degrees.
Thank you, Chancellor Guskiewicz. Let's first take a moment to recognize our outstanding undergraduates. These seniors are exceptionally accomplished students who exemplified the highest possible level of undergraduate scholarship. Will the candidates of baccalaureate degrees with highest honors please rise and remain standing? Will the candidates of baccalaureate degrees with honors please rise and remain standing? Congratulations to each of you on this outstanding achievement. I now call upon the deans of the university, in order of the anniversary date of each college or school, to present their candidates for doctoral, master's, and baccalaureate degrees. For the College of Arts and Sciences, Dean Jim White.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the College of Arts and Sciences. Will these outstanding, world-changing graduates please rise?
For the School of Law, Dean Martin Brinkley.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the School of Law, who will go forth from this place to devise those wise restraints that make us free. Will these graduates please rise?
For the School of Medicine, Dean Wesley Burks.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the School of Medicine. Will the candidates please rise?
For the School of Education, Dean Fuad Abdelkhalik.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I'm pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the School of Education. Will these graduates please rise?
For the Eshelman School of Pharmacy, Dean Angela Kashuba.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the Eshelman School of Pharmacy. Will these graduates of the #1 School of Pharmacy in the nation please rise?
For the Graduate School, Dean Beth Meyer Davis.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of the Masters of Professional Science degree. Will these graduates please rise?
For the Keenan Flagler Business School, Interim Dean Jennifer Conrad.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the Keenan Flagler Business School. Will these amazing and enthusiastic graduates please rise?
For the School of Social Work, Dr. Mimi Chapman.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the School of Social Work. Will these compassionate change makers please rise?
For the Hussman School of Journalism and Media, Dean Raul Rice.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I'm pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the Hussman School of Journalism and Media. Will these graduates please rise?
For the School of Information and Library Science, Dean Gary Marcianini.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the School of Information and Library Science. Will these informed and informative graduates please rise?
For the Gilling School of Public Health, Dean Nancy Messonnier.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I'm honored to present to you the recipients of degrees in the Gilling School of Global Public Health, the #1 public school of public health. Will these graduates please rise?
For the Adams School of Dentistry, Dean Janet Guthmiller.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the Adams School of Dentistry. Will these outstanding graduates please rise?
For the School of Nursing, Dean Valerie Howard.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of degrees in the School of Nursing. Will these graduates from the most trusted profession, advancing health for all, please rise?
For the School of Government, Dean Amy Wall.
Chancellor Guskiewicz, I am pleased to present to you the recipients of the degrees in the School of Government. Will these dedicated public service leaders please rise?
Will all degree candidates please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, by the state of North Carolina, and by the university entrusted to me, I hereby confer to you the degree for which the faculty has certified you, together with all the rights and privileges thereunto pertaining, and I offer you my warmest congratulations. Please be seated. We're getting close. We are getting close to party time. Congratulations, graduates. You now join the nearly 357,000 living alumni of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, a worldwide family that you'll belong to for the rest of your lives. You're going to turn those tassels and toss those caps soon. But before you do, one more thought from me. I began our ceremony this morning remembering your classmate, Evan Pageant. One of his friends shared the biggest lessons learned from Evan. He said, "When we surround ourselves with people who want us to succeed and be better, there's no way to fail." Graduates, look around you. Look at your classmates next to you, your families, your friends up in the stands, your faculty here in the front row, our university leaders here on the platform behind me. We all want you to succeed, to dream big dreams, to change the world. There will be challenges, and you will face adversity in the years ahead. But know that there's no way to fail, because your Tar Heel community will be here to help pick you up, to encourage you and to remind you who you are. And we will be here to also celebrate your many successes. You are Tar Heels forever. I want to also take this opportunity to thank all of our staff and support teams from across many departments here on our campus who've worked tirelessly to make it possible for us to gather here today. I want to also thank Jeff Fuchs and the Tar Heel Orchestra Band. Please join me in thanking all of them. I now invite Karthik Tyagi, president of the senior class, to say a few words on behalf of the class of 2023. Congratulations and go Heels.
Tar! 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 Class of 2023, after a few years, unlike any other, we made it. Chancellor Guskowitz, Mr. Stevenson, esteemed members of the Platform Party, family, friends, and graduates of the class of 2023, today I stand before you proud to be a member of this class, the class of 2023, at our nation's oldest public university. I stand here proud as our senior class president, but I also stand here proud to be my mother's son. Because I owe all that I am, all that I hope to be, all that I dream, to the sacrifice of those before me. I owe it to the sacrifice of a mother for her two sons, the sacrifice of those in my family who I love and cherish, and those who love and cherish me unconditionally for who I am. And so today I wish my mother and all the moms and mother figures out there truly a happy Mother's Day. Class of 2023, if you are as energized as I am, if you are as excited as I am, if you are as nervous as I am, and if you are as proud as I am to soon be a Tar Heel alum of the self-proclaimed Jordan year, I want to hear you make some noise. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that with the snap of a finger, we'd all find ourselves here, donned in Carolina blue, on a now sunny Sunday, May morning, soon to be alumni of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. If you are cautiously ready of what the future holds, if you're curious for what this next chapter entails, I ask you to join me. Join me here today in reaffirming our belief in what we can be, what we will be, and what we must be when we walk out of Kenan Stadium here today. Friends, over the last few years, we've experienced the highest of highs and lowest of lows. As student advocates, researchers, athletes, leaders, and community builders, we've excelled, achieved, and accomplished. Other times, we showed up. And sometimes, yes, sometimes more than we might like to admit, we came up short, just a little bit short. But regardless of where we're from, what we studied, who we hope to become, here we are together. Together, whether you know it or not, together here today as the last group of college students to experience college before COVID-19. I'm proud of you, proud of us, proud of our ability as a class to rise to each and every moment, to rise to the challenges we faced, to rise to the opportunities we had, to rise up especially when the alternative may have been a whole lot easier. I'm proud of our class because we embody what it means for a university to be, as Chancellor Guskowitz puts it, passionately public. Because we passionately speak up for what we believe in. We passionately supported the founding of the UNC Asian American Center in 2020. We passionately champion and continue to champion that mental health is health. We passionately welcome the names of trailblazers Hortense McClinton and Henry Owl on our campus buildings. We passionately honor the memory of James Cates Jr., and we passionately advocated for a campus that is accessible for all and to all. And yes, we also passionately welcomed Coach Mack Brown back to campus, celebrated the legendary Coach Roy Williams, won several national championships in field hockey, lacrosse, and tennis, and cheered on Coach Davis and team in a Final Four win against a fierce foe down the road. I'm proud. I'm proud because when we care, when the class of 2023 cares, things happen. But when the class of 2023 acts, when the class of 2023 decides to act, things change. At heart, that's what it means to be a Tar Heel, to be born, bred, and not yet dead. That's what it means. That this isn't the end of our journeys as Tar Heels. It's only just the beginning. Congratulations on this momentous milestone. I, for one, can't wait to see what we go on to do because people are counting on us. People are counting on you. From the bottom of my heart, congratulations, class of 2023, and go Heels. I would now like to introduce the UNC Clefhangers, who will perform Carolina in My Mind, and then please stand and join me and join the Harmonics and Voice of Praise Gospel Choir, who will perform Hark the Sound.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Carrying shades of silver sun, you best walk her away and watch her shine. Watch her, watch the morning come. There ain't no doubt in no one's mind that love's the finest thing around. Whisper something soft and kind. Go Eagles! Hey babe, the sky's on fire and I'm dying. And I'm going to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Dark and silent late last night, I think I might have heard the highway calling. The geese in flight and dogs that bite. Bark, 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 bark. And other signs that might be omens say I'm going to Carolina in my mind. With a holy host of others standing around me, still I'm on the dark side of the moon. And it seems like it goes on like this forever. You must forgive me if I'm up and gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Ooh. Can't you see the sunshine? And can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Oh, I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Gonna Carolina in my mind. Gone, gone, gone. When I'm gone, say nice things about me. When I'm gone, carry on without me. When I'm gone. I'm a tired one, I'm a
As Vice President of the Class of 2023, I'm privileged to lead you in moving your tassel from right to left, and then Karthik will lead us in the cap toss, officially signifying our status. Here we go.
All right, on the count of three, let's toss those caps. 1, 2, 3.
Jordan year, huh? I like that. Congratulations to the Carolina class of 2023. Much success.